I thought I had it all figured out. Feed your dog good, play with him a little bit, teach him to sit, and boom, well-behaved best friend, right? That's what I thought. That's what YouTube and Instagram made it seem like. All these dogs out here healing perfectly, ignoring distractions, doing tricks like it's nothing. So I figured, how hard can this really be? And at first, it was cool. He was cute, learning his name, kind of followed me around. Until one day, he didn't. We were out walking, and he saw another dog and instantly turned into something else. Pulled so hard, I almost dropped the leash and like I couldn't even do nothing. He completely tuned me out, like I didn't even exist. And the worst part, it kept happening. No matter how much I repeated myself, no matter how many treats I had, at first I thought, wow, this dog is stubborn. But later I realized he wasn't being stubborn. He just didn't understand. I'm not a dog trainer or influencer. I'm just someone who was frustrated, confused, and trying to figure out how to actually connect with my dog. If you've ever felt like that, this video is for you. So let me back it up a little bit. When I got my dog Saint, he was 5 months old. So still a young puppy, you know. And honestly, I didn't fully understand what I was taking on at the time because he was a little bit older than what you're supposed to get puppies at, and at that point in time he had been the only dog on the yard, so only puppy on the yard, so to say. He had other dogs in the yard, but they were his parents and his uncles and stuff like that, so he didn't have any puppies that he was playing with from the first 8 weeks. After the first 8 weeks, there wasn't really any puppies on the yard for him to play with and develop with, so you know, he was by himself. So getting him and transitioning into our home where we haven't had a dog in the household in a couple of years, so it's a little bit of a transition for myself as well, you know, between work and all those different things. But regardless of that, it was definitely a learning curve for both him and I when it comes to progressing and learning and training, everything like that. So the first month was weird, still trying to figure out the house, and every corner was new. Every sound made him perk up, and on top of that, I was trying to juggle work, family, life, and a new dog who seemed like he didn't really care too much to be around me or anything like that. So between that and then the mental transition that you go through when you realize this dog isn't just a pet, but it's a responsibility. Nobody talks about that part of dog ownership. And I mean, you see on YouTube like people with breeding camps or training camps and everything like that. And of course, it's easy for them to manage the dogs because that's what they're doing. That's their day-to-day thing. But to transition yourself into learning that you have to do this as well on a smaller scale, that's the part that they don't talk about, especially when it comes to managing how the dog is going to live with you and how you're going to live with the dog. So with that being said, I think what ended up being my downfall is not having a routine. I didn't know how to really read him, so to say, because I did miss kind of pivotal months and days of his growth to where I wasn't able to see like what actually scared him, what triggered him, all these different things, as well as I didn't get to introduce him to anything that ended up later on down the line becoming triggers and issues for him, like going out in public on a leash. For instance, when we first got him, he wouldn't walk on a leash at all. So those are kind of things that I had to work through with getting him at a later age. But not having an actual routine, like obviously I had a feeding plan, but there wasn't any value to me feeding him. He didn't understand, like, okay, this person's feeding me, so I should appreciate the fact that he's feeding me good food or whatever the case may be. There wasn't any value added to it, so there wasn't any reason for him to appreciate it. It's kind of hard to communicate, so you have to create value with what you're doing. So as far as food goes, building a scheduled plan around it, making sure that you're sticking to it. So one thing, for instance, that you can do to implement into managing your dogs around your household is just having them wait a few minutes before they eat. Have them go into a sit and a down, or a sit and a stay, or whatever you want to call it, and having them sit and wait for a second just to acknowledge that you're the person that put the food in front of them. You know, that's something that will help with engaging them and keeping that line of communication open for you. I think everything started to shift when I stopped trying to kind of control situations and just understood how to manage situations. I knew that he had certain issues when it came to walking him in public or walking him around other animals or with other animals in the area or whatever the case may be, and not in a prey drive manner. It's just that when we first got him, before he was the only puppy, so he didn't play with the bigger dogs like that because they were all 100-pound dogs. And then we got him and wanted him to be kind of interacted with other dogs, so we would take him out into public places such as dog parks, which I do not recommend in most scenarios, but in given circumstances, that was kind of one of the only ways we were able to get him to interact with other animals. But between that and constant walks, you have to have constant kind of bonding time situations, and you can see within this video I have this is my main routine. This is what we do pretty much at minimum 3 times a week, especially with the weather being the way that it is. Where I'm at, it's mainly pretty sunny for the most part of the day, but it's also pretty hot. And then during the wintertime, it's pretty cold and gloomy like the whole season, so it's kind of hard. If this video is helping you, hit that like or sub. I've got a few more videos in the works where I break down things like how I introduced leash pressure, how I learned his triggers, and how I stopped micromanaging him on walks. After less than a year of him living in our house and us having him, I would say that the key reasons why the growth has changed is really just because we've stayed consistent. Consistency is going to always be the key when it comes to managing these dogs and how they grow and what they grow into. Is just consistency. I mean, between the multiple trainers that we've worked with, that I've worked with over my personal life and then my wife's as well, one thing that they've always said is just take your dog on a walk. And it sounds like common sense, but it's really just that, like taking your dog daily and just putting him in different situations to see how he's going to interact, see how he's going to react to certain things. That's really how you learn your dog and how your dog learns you, because now you know what you need to be aware of and what you don't need to be aware of when it comes to taking your dog out certain places. Obviously, if you have dogs that you just can't walk because they're so uh, alert, so to say, or they have a drive that you can't control, then obviously you need to go to different avenues of trying to manage that. But for the most part, I mean, just getting them into different interactions and different scenarios will always be beneficial to your awareness of your dog, but also your dog's awareness of what you expect in certain situations. You can't expect your dog to just know what you want him to do, but he's never been in a situation to actually have to do what you expect of him, if that makes sense. Uh, yep.